Alright, so I'm just gonna continue uh, my analysis from before. This is I finished off EOS, and now we did have that pop up negating the head and shoulders, which would lead to another pop. That's already happened, so I don't know how much further that will have, but that second pop up, that you could say is all that is needed for that sort of to be over. And this has also created where traders aren't going to be looking for that move anymore. This is roughly an equal distance of this, and so now this is a two-stage move, and now this has more of a chance to kind of create a new pattern, maybe some kind of flag like that in a channel where there's buyers and then sellers come in near the top. Certainly this could be something, as well as this. So that would mean sellers, I would think people are going to start selling there and buy there. So I'd want to sell short if it gets there, but I'm already short. This is a BT Neo chart. On the long term, it's broken from this head and shoulders. It hit this support, or yeah, essentially, and it's bouncing off that. I didn't really look at that on my chart. I guess I didn't plot that out, and I think the more I look at these charts, the more likely I would have seen little things like that that obviously matter a lot. But this did have a reverse came out that low. We are starting to head higher. I don't know how high this will go. I guess it is making me a little nervous that on a daily chart, I do have declining volume in a very serious degree, but that alone could, I guess, continue on for a while. Bollinger Bands are not really helpful to determine what people might do next. Yeah.
Wave of pot deals as Corona Brewer lifts.
Just, yeah, declining volume. Other than that, it's not. I guess you could say this is almost like a measured move, not quite, but now Neo's getting into this this sell area here, and I'm hoping that holds, but I'm not sure if it will. If it does, you're gonna have people selling here. That takes hopefully price down. It might do this and that. I'm not, but that's kind of what I'm looking as a possible scenario. This is Bitcoin gold. Hold on. Anything else just on this Neo chart that I could use that could help me figure out what people are going to be doing or the way in which people have been buying this. Yeah, I mean, declining volume, that's really it. And then as you get close to this resistance, I think there's going to be more selling. This is Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin Gold broke down from bear flag. This is a pullback, and then it just continued on down. Had this big selling low created, and basically it was like a 50% drop from where it broke down from. And it's pulling back now. It does look like a weak pullback, like it's losing steam, which is great to see. It's sort of not really getting much higher, and and then it's getting sold in this area around a little under 18 bucks. So I guess that's where some sellers are coming in. So I do have declining volume also, and there was an attempt to pop higher, and it's kind of not really been able to do much. So I'm hoping that continues and we get a lot more selling soon, because I'm getting a bit nervous, even though there's a huge amount of resistance between 6,600 and 6,800 in Bitcoin, meaning a lot of people I think are going to sell that. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. Never mind. This is ERX. It's in this big triangle. It seemed to almost break down through, but it's held. But now ZRX is heading into this big resistance area, where I think there's going to be sellers coming in, and that might be strong enough to take this and break through. And if that happens, that would really initiate the next major leg down. On shorter term for ZRX, I don't know if there's anything else I can find that would help me figure out what other people are going to be doing. But yeah, Also declining volume, meaning there's not a lot of as many people buying, so I think there's gonna be a lot of selling coming in here. This is Ripple. Ripple on a long-term 3-day chart clearly broke down from this triangle. This distance to here is a projected move, 42 to, you know, it's like so, you know, 85 cents. That projected drop from the point of the breakout is below 0, and so we're far from there. You know, that from that drop, it like that distance is like what 70% drop, and you know, we haven't had that even on a percentage basis, let alone on the actual number basis. And so I do think for that reason, and the similar situation across the board, this is this pullback is only a pullback, and it's not a big ultimate reversal. On a 12-hour chart, is there anything helpful? I do have a higher high, which is going to make some people think that this could do this, and there's I would expect buying in that fib area. But I think it's more likely that will happen, and then that fib of this, of this move, there might be a lot of selling enough to take it down the next leg down. If obviously this is massive resistance, that big Bollinger Band, but I don't think it's gonna hit within that 12-hour period. And then 6-hour chart, I mean, the Bollinger Band's opened up, and Ripple has certainly been the strongest one. I guess you could say this is almost a triangle that it broke out from. But I don't know how much it's gonna last. The volume just isn't there. There's just not enough people buying this. And I think that, yeah, it's just not enough compared to before. Like, the price is much higher, but it's just not as many people buying this. And so it just looks like a low volume pullback, and it's just kind of getting ahead of itself. But that can continue, so I have to be aware of that. Alright, so again, I don't know where this is going to land or how much further this has to go, but I don't think much. This is XLM. XLM, which is, I think, stellar, is bottomed at the prior lows. I wouldn't short this one because I think it has more fundamentally going for it. But clearly, this has attempted to pull it back, and each time it gets sold pretty heavily, and so that's a very good sign that even in a pullback situation that it's getting sold down so much shows there's a lot of sellers. And when you could say on a shorter term basis the bears have control and we're in a downtrend, the fact that there's not even enough bulls for like a decent pullback is going to mean that the downside will be very strong. So yeah. So again, people are selling anywhere in this area, and that looks likely to continue. If this breaks out higher, though, I'd have to see. This is fun. Fun is a simpler chart because I don't have as much data. We had this breakthrough, these prior lows. It flagged and then it broke down, and then this is basically the pullback of that breakdown. I mean, you could say this breakdown fulfilled the measured move of this drop, but and so I guess a new pattern has to form from which it can break down. I am concerned. It does look like things might head higher, which, you know, it's not fun to suffer through. So we'll see. Hopefully it does sell down soon. I mean, so. This is Cardano. Cardano, I also don't have as much data on. And I don't know how long this pullback will be. We certainly haven't had a serious pullback like this in quite a while. So how long was this? This was 23.5 to 11.5. So that's 12 cents. That's like 20 cents almost. I mean, this is almost a similar size move, which would suggest that that this measured move drop down is finished and we can have a more serious pullback. I'm fucking hoping to God not. But I mean, certainly this has been a serious pullback. And one thing I could have done was look at all these pairs to see what the measured low would be based on those breakouts, and based on measured moves, because that's where a lot of people would take profit and where lows might come in. But I guess I was so focused on that Bitcoin might break its low, that the high 5,000s, that I guess I wasn't considering like another big pullback like this happening. It was a fairly large drop, and yeah, you could say this high came at 330 to this low 206. It's 200. That's 125. This high 300, like basically 300. Yeah, I mean, this is certainly much farther than that projection, basically. On a 3-day chart, I don't know if this low is important because I don't have enough data. But we have this big head and shoulder that's broken down, yet a neckline retest, and I guess based historically, you could have a pretty sizable pullback, even more from here, of like 25%, which would suck. Ugh. Certainly, this is a lot worse than I expected. Oh, damn. I guess on a short-term basis, you could say this is a bear flag, a bull flag that might break out to the upside. That's sort of what it actually looks like, and it has me very scared right now. XRP is like 24.5 to 30, so it's like what? It's almost 6, like 5.5 cents. That projects a top at 33 cents, so 2% higher, 3% higher in Ripple. Let's see if that happens. Jesus Christ. Certainly, I think there were enough factors, like I was looking at, that this would break higher. I think I was kind of expecting like a surge up and then a pullback, and it kind of didn't really do it in a typical way. And so I guess because I was thinking it would need to happen fast, that I didn't do it. And then also just not wanting to be out of the short, which is a problem. Dash can certainly have another leg higher, and that's what I'm afraid will happen. This almost looks like an inverse head and shoulders in Litecoin. That would be scary. Certainly a bull flag also could be occurring here. Yeah, it's doing a measured move. It bull flagged previously and it's surging higher. So hopefully that second leg higher is almost done in a lot of these things. We'll have to see.
저는 개인적으로 SV 경고를 보면 그냥
Ferrari 812 super fast. Yes, that.
Just scanning through charts that I looked at earlier. I mean, the Zcash is very important because this is a breakdown. It's certainly losing steam, unlike others, and I think this 150 level is ultimate resistance. So I think it's gonna hold that. And hopefully, you know, it'll be a great short. It'll continue down and drag everything else down and limit a lot of the upside. So I'll maybe finish up this video with a little more analysis later on.